The storage situation in my Minecraft Forever world has gotten to a critical point. It's gotten so bad that I don't even know what items I even have right now. So in today's episode, we're finally gonna fix that with a storage system. But because this is the copper update, we're actually going to be implementing copper golems into our sorting system. But in order to build our storage system, I'm going to need to build an iron farm, a honey farm, raid a trial chamber, and dig an absolutely massive hole underground. So let's get started with the first item, which is going to be the iron farm. But before we can do that, of course, we need to spin the wheel to see which food item we'll be eating in today's episode. And I've just gone ahead and got rid of all of the items that we've already done and a few of the ones that don't really make sense. Because, for example, milk is on this list. You can't eat milk. So let's spin the wheel and see what we get. Oh, okay. Cookies. I believe it was last episode, or maybe the episode before that, we actually went over to the jungle and got cocoa beans. And so I just have these planted up over here. We'll need to build a farm for these if we want to eat these throughout the entire episode. So I'll begin by chopping down a new jungle tree. And unfortunately, my new diamond hoe is actually silk touch, so in order to get saplings, I am going to need to use my pickaxe to break these leaves. Oh, and I just realized my mini HUD was off. Yeah, it's day 380, by the way. We're getting so close to day 500 already. It's actually kind of crazy. It feels like I just started this world yesterday. Oh, and I was actually misremembering what the cookie recipe was. I thought it needed milk, but it's actually just 2 wheat and cocoa beans. And it only restores 1 haunch, but that's alright. Especially since we get 8 cookies per crafting recipe. Now the next question, are cocoa beans affected by bone meal? They are. Okay, that's really good to know. Alright, so I'm gonna craft a few dispensers. And I'll need to go into the nether to grab some of this nether quartz, to craft a couple of observers, and I'll also need a lever. And I already had a sticky piston in my storage, so that's all we really need for this mini farm here. Now I need to find a place to actually build this, and I'm thinking I'm gonna build it near the villagers here. And I think that this one is actually going to be temporary. I don't really like building temporary farms. However, I do have plans for these for this area very, very soon, like in this episode soon, so I'm not entirely sure what's going to stick around, but yeah, we'll go ahead and begin building this farm. Now, I did make some cookies here, and unfortunately, I used all of my cocoa beans, so I'm going to have to go to the jungle and actually get that again, but for now, we can just begin to build the farm. We'll have our 3 dispensers pointing in towards the same block here in the center. This is where the cocoa beans will go. We can have either a solid block or a hopper down below. I think I'm going to go with a solid block for now. And then we'll also build up the parts behind here. Then we'll just run redstone all along up here. And I think we'll need one on there as well. I'm not entirely sure if that's exactly how this is going to go. I think I want my power switch to go right here, which means that when I flick that lever down, the sticky piston will point out. And we'll go ahead and break these blocks. And I'm thinking, I think I'll actually have this be reversed. So when the lever is powered, the farm will be off. So that should work like that. And then this one points in that way. We'll have stone there. And redstone dust right there. And that should be everything. So we'll get a power surge just like that. It is powering it on and off. It shouldn't do that. And I think it's because this one right here is bud powering it, so I think that should help. Here we go. And is this one still dispensing? It's hard to tell with nothing inside. I'm thinking probably not though, so let's break that, go there. I think that should work. So now if I grab some more cocoa beans, we can get some bone meal in each of the dispensers. And now when we place our cocoa bean on the wall, we can flick our lever, and that will basically instantly grow this. So what we need to do is I don't know if fortune affects cocoa beans. I should really look into that. But yeah, you just hold down right click and left click. And there we go. We have infinite cocoa beans now. First farm of the episode already done. So at the end of the previous video, we set up this villager breeder, and this is going to be the key part in our iron farm because you actually need villagers in order to spawn iron golems. So I'm going to spend some time researching our iron farm, figure out which one exactly is the best suited for our needs. We're still pretty early game, but we're a little bit further into the game, so we can probably build something more advanced. I also need to find a location for the farm. And I do actually want it in this area pretty close here because I really want it to be loaded in while we're in this area. So scouting out the nearby area, we have some pretty good choices. So I have a specific design I have in mind for the build surrounding it. I guess it's a little less specific, but basically I want it to be an abandoned castle. That's sort of been here for longer than probably everything else. So I'm looking around, we have this area here with the tree. I don't want it to be too close to the tree farm. Because we are trying to fill out the entire world, I don't want it to be too close to the village either. So I think I want it to be maybe halfway between the two. So maybe right here would be a pretty good place for it. Maybe fill that area in. Yeah, I think that could work. Yeah, and looking at this place further, I think it's going to be the perfect place. I think we'll try to build it a little bit further up on the hill, but we'll definitely cover up this hole here because it's kind of random. I've been down there before, I believe. Yeah, it just kind of leads into a little cave down there, but nothing too unique or special. So I think this will be the perfect place to build our iron farm. Now let's just get all of the pieces that we need to build it, and then yeah, we can go ahead and get started. So to get started with this farm, we're gonna need 4 stacks of building blocks. We'll need 24 stairs. I'm just gonna make a couple stacks of those. We'll need 9 fence gates. We'll need 9 beds as well, but I'll just keep this in wool form for now. And we'll need 3 stacks of walls. We'll need 9 hoppers. And some more chests for storage. And I believe the last thing we're going to need is 9 campfires. I think you can also use lava, but we're going to be using campfires instead. And that extremely short list of materials is all we needed to build this farm. So I'm going to spend just a little bit of time flattening out this area, and then we'll begin building the iron farm. And the dirt is now in place, which means that we can finally build the iron farm up here. However, my show is about to start, so I think I'm just going to do it in a time lapse. So I began building the iron farm. I'm using Joza's easy iron farm tutorial, and something I didn't realize / forgot was that the area nearby would actually need to be spawn proofed, which meant that the location I chose probably wasn't the best, but it did the job. Next, I needed to gather some villagers for the iron farm. It was difficult and time consuming, especially since I had to move them from my base all the way over to the iron farm, which was pretty far away. I moved them in by breaking the boats and letting them pathfind to their beds. After the villagers were in place, I gathered up some name tags and let some zombies into the farm. The zombies scare the villagers, and in response, the villagers create iron golems. Alright, and that was pretty good timing. My show just ended, so this took about 4 hours. I just finished getting these zombies in place. I've name tagged them all, so we are getting iron inside of the farm now, which is pretty nice. Yeah, so... Oh. I do need to run around and clean this up really quick. Otherwise, we're gonna get iron golem spawning everywhere. I'll have to take this guy out. Yeah, it is pretty much done. I kind of forgot that I needed to make the area around it non-spawnable, so that was probably a majority of what I did with this build, honestly. It was just trying to make this look good. It's still a work in progress. I need to go through and actually decorate it, but I have the plan for how the tower is going to look, at least, or the old watch guard. And it probably wasn't the best idea to build this right over a hole, I'm realizing, but I did go through and button this cave, and there was another cave over here. I've added a few buttons here. This area probably still needs buttoning, but we'll just see where everything kind of spawns and if we actually end up needing to put buttons down there. Oh, looks like we got a cat here. And I'm gonna do something really stupid here. I kind of want to test my skill, so I'm gonna just 1v1 this iron golem. We are in full diamond protection 4, but man, he is putting in some work. Oh, he's coming right for me. Oh, if I can let my health recover a little bit, I might be able to get him. Oh, he's stuck there. Ha, you can't get through. Ah, there we go. Nice. So we've got 31 iron in here, now 36. So I'm gonna let this run for just a little bit, just so that I can test to see if everything's working, as well as just to accrue a little bit of iron, because I did use, I think, all of my iron, or a good majority of it, just building this farm, so, yeah. Alright, and I would say that the iron farm is now complete. I just went through and upgraded all of the stone into mossy stone variants, and I just made sure to make this place look really old and ancient and basically crumbling down. And while I was doing that, we accrued a pretty decent amount of iron. I think this was about an hour. The time lapse itself was like an hour and 4 minutes, so most of that came from here, so yeah, not too bad. This is going to be way more iron than we actually need for our storage room, but it's definitely going to be nice to have a ton of iron in the future. And by the way, we did end up passing through day 400. I'm not going to celebrate the smaller 100 days sections. I think the next time we'll build a cake will be for day 500, I think. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I need to actually take on a trial chamber today. So I'm gonna make a shield just to help things out a little bit. Now, I've never actually done a trial chamber, so hopefully it goes alright. I'm not sure if I'm gonna need netherite for that or not, but I think we should be fine with full diamond. And we actually do have a trial chamber relatively close by. If we go down in our mine here, I think we should see it over that direction, I think. I found it on stream, so hopefully I can remember where I actually found it. I think it was this way. And actually, before I get too far there, I'm actually gonna break down some of this coal and bring some torches with me as well. I think we're gonna need to light up a pretty significant area, so we might as well get as many torches as we can bring. Alright, I couldn't find the exact spot, but I do have the coordinates written down from that stream, so if we continue in this direction, yeah, once we get to 380 is where we should find it. We should be at like right the edge of the trial chamber. And yep, I see a wall right here. There's a skeleton down here that's gonna chase me down. Oh, there's even a iron vein here. Alright, I'm gonna light up the area nearby. And let's break into this place. Okay, so we get right into it. I'm gonna make sure that I know the exact exit here. Don't want to get lost in here. So far, so good. Nothing spawned yet. There is one of those spawners right there. I don't remember exactly how these work. I think once you get close to them, they'll begin spawning things in. So we have pots here. Let's silk touch these. Oh, and they actually have loot inside of them. There's also candles here, which is kind of surprising. Oh, and you can get shirred ones here as well. Yeah, not too bad. So I'm gonna try to get close to that spawner that we saw before and kind of see what happens. Oh, I think I heard something spawning. Okay. We got some strays here. Okay, that one's wearing full gold armor. Wow. Okay. Alright, one down. I think that one fell down below. I'm not entirely sure where it went. So I'll just drop back down. Oh, there it is. Okay. I think it's spawning again. Okay, I see a few more down here. I'm gonna have to eat pretty soon. Okay, it's spawning quite a few of these guys. It's a lot more enemies than I was expecting. I maybe should have done this with full netherite, but I should be okay. Alright, that was a bad time for a package to get here, but we can keep working on the trial chamber here. I'm not seeing... Oh, I saw a key up there. Okay, I was just gonna say I don't see any more enemies, but I think that was probably the last stray, which means when we pick up this key, we have a trial key. Now, I don't think... Do we use it on the spawner? No. I think there's other things that we use it on. I'm trying to remember exactly how this area works. I think we can use it on that up there, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna go test that out. But this might spawn some more enemies as well. I should probably eat and recover a little bit of health. Okay. It turned blue. I'm gonna right-click it with the trial key. Oh, interesting. So that might be for the more advanced key? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, interesting. There's a cactus down here? Okay. And it looks like... Okay, I thought that was a hopper down below, but... Interesting. Oh, is this just a farm? Weird. Alright, so these look trapped, but I don't think that they are. Oh, we can actually get honeycomb from in here. Oh, nice. And some extra arrows. We don't really need those. But I am seeing another one of those chest thingies up here. And so this one's orange, which I believe means we can use this kind of trial key on it. And we got an iron axe with unbreaking 1. And I think some arrows of slowness. Okay. So I think that there's a limit on how often these ones can actually be used. So if we find another key, we can't actually use it on this one for, I think, 5 minutes, I want to say. So we'll eventually have to find another one of those. Oh, and there was another trial key in one of these pots, okay. So it's good to note that we can actually get those there. Oh, this area is flooded. Okay, I heard one spawning over in that direction. I want to try to avoid breaking blocks in this area because I think that it's meant to be sort of taken on in a certain way. So I think maybe if we come up here, we can get over onto that side. Yeah, okay, so this was a husk area. Do I have a bow on me? I do. So this one should be fairly easy because we're not fighting off skeletons. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And the baby, the textures are broken on that one. I think that was number 5. And I see one more down there. Oh, there's one more up here. And I see another chest, another loot chest there. Some more strays up here. Doing pretty good so far. These guys hurt quite a lot though. Alright, we're not quite done yet. I can hear it, but I'm not sure where it went. It might have fallen down below here. Oh, there they are. My bow's getting pretty low on durability. And there we go. We got a cooked chicken from that one. That's alright. We have a couple of extra trial keys. So we got diamonds from that one. Arrows and a shield. The shield isn't enchanted though, so I don't think we really need it. So if I try to use another trial key, yeah, it won't work. Oh, and I found another room here, and it looks like there's quite a few spawners in here. So this might be the end one. Oh, I'm all out of arrows now. So I'm gonna have to go in for a melee. Oh, I'm getting hit by... Oh no, I got knocked down to the ground. Uh-oh. Okay, there's one of these new guys, Blitz? Is that what they're called? I can't quite remember. They don't do a lot of damage, but they will knock you around. I do want to grab his, breeze is what they're called. I want to grab the breeze rods. Okay, I think that one in the middle is spawning these guys. I do have feather falling on my boots, so I shouldn't take too much damage. Hey, there we go. So that one in the middle is done. Okay, this one still has yet to be activated. I'm pretty low on health. Gotta watch my health here. Alright, I'm jumping. Oh, they followed me down. Uh-oh. Cookies are really not the best food source because they don't provide a lot of saturation. So I'm gonna be constantly eating here. Alright, it does look like we completed this one though. So I think that was all of the ones in this room, I want to say. Yep, and this one completed up here as well. So we can use this key on this spawner. But I think I've explored pretty much all of this, at least that I could see. So what I'm gonna do now is head back home and drop off some of my things. I don't think I can access that one, unfortunately. I'm gonna drop off some of my things, and then I'm gonna come back and harvest this place. Alright, we've collected a ton of copper now. One thing I didn't realize is that the copper from the trial chambers actually comes waxed. So technically we won't need to make a honey farm, at least for the decorative blocks, but I'm still gonna need honey for the sorting system itself. So I'm gonna repair my Silk Touch pickaxe really quick, because it's definitely taken a little bit of a beating here. And now that my pickaxe is repaired, I'm gonna run around a little bit and try to find some beehives. Hopefully we can find some that are actually full of bees, so we can finally start our bee farm. Oh shoot, I was hoping to find a beehive here in this little forest that's nearby the base, but I'm not seeing any beehives here, so I'm probably gonna have to go a little bit further out. And so I got started on the honey farm. This is a pretty simple design by Mortings. I currently only have 3 bee nests though, so I filled the extra spaces with cobblestone. And I'll have to breed some more bees later on as we go. After completing the honey farm, I started building the exterior. I designed it almost as a honey shop with yellow terracotta and orange windows. Okay, and with that, the honey farm is completed now. If we take a look inside, we have been running it for just a little while, and we've already gotten 51 honeycomb and 8 honey bottles. So basically we fill each of these dispensers. They have to be full, like every slot has to be occupied with something. So in a few of these we just have shears. Now I have gone through and added beehives here, but I still need to breed up a few more bees. I think we've added like 2 more. But this should be running in the background as we get started on our 4th and basically last project before we can actually get started on the storage room. So I think I'm gonna build the storage room here. However, I think I'm gonna go underground. We have a pretty significant area underground here that we can actually utilize to build the storage room. So this blue box, it's kind of hard to see, but the blue box is the size that we're actually going to need to dig out beneath the ground here. And I think I figured out exactly where I want it, so that means we can finally get started on digging out this area. If you've been enjoying this video so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you like my content and want to see more videos like this in the future, consider becoming a channel member. We have 2 tiers of support, one of which is only 99 cents per month. Also consider joining the new Discord server for better notifications. YouTube doesn't do the best job with letting people know when new videos are out, channel updates, and more. Now, back to the video. Alright, so I cleared this absolutely massive area, and I just went through and cleared up the walls, got rid of some of the ores that were in there, and just built it all the way up to the roof. So the only thing left to do now is to build the storage system itself. We're also going to need to decorate it, but first we're going to need to gather up all of the materials for it. And our material list is pretty long here. We're going to need about 1,000 stone bricks, a ton of mossy cobblestone, moss blocks, chests, and a few other miscellaneous components. So we're going to need 16 stacks of stone bricks, We're gonna need a little over 16 stacks of moss blocks as well, so the moss farm is gonna have to run for just a little while. Oh, and speaking of the moss farm, I actually just noticed that it actually broke a little bit here. Interesting. So some of it actually got converted into... Oh, that probably wasn't the best idea. Is my redstone okay? Oh, just barely. Yeah, something went wrong here. It seems like it's not producing stone anymore, which is kind of alarming. Maybe that'll fix it. I'm not entirely sure. Aha, okay, so that's what the problem was. I guess I left when it was still loaded, so it probably broke the redstone it was stuck on, so we should be able to get moss now. And while I'm here, I might as well get some more wood as well, because we're gonna need a ton of chests for this project. We're gonna need 5 entire stacks of mossy cobblestone, and we're gonna need 5 stacks of chests, 4 stacks of mossy stone bricks. We're gonna need 4 stacks of oxidized cut copper. Technically, in our schematic, it's regular cut copper. However, it will eventually oxidize, so we might as well use the stuff that we got from the trial chamber. We're gonna need 2 stacks of stone brick slabs. That's a little more than 2 stacks, but that's alright. Next up, I need a couple of stacks of orange stained glass. And I'll need 2 stacks of stone brick stairs. I'll need a couple of stacks of mangrove leaves, 2 stacks of mossy cobblestone slabs, a few stacks of regular stone. Next, I actually need about a stack of copper bulbs, and I definitely didn't get as many as I thought I did earlier, so I'm just gonna go back through here and pick up as many of these as we can. It might take a little while because they're kind of spread out a little bit. And now I'm gonna have to scrape all of the wax and oxidization off of all of these bulbs. I'll need a stack of mossy stone brick stairs, a stack of azalea leaves. Next, I need about a stack of lily pads, which means I actually need to return to the swamp to actually grab those. And we're starting to get to some of these smaller items in the list, so we're gonna go ahead and rapid fire those. Mossy cobblestone walls, stone brick walls, hoppers, mossy cobblestone stairs, stone stairs, crafting tables, copper lanterns, some cobblestone walls, composters. We'll need a few cactus flowers. We're also going to need some copper chests. Now, technically, you can get these when you spawn in the copper golems. However, I just want to build these right now just to get that out of the way. Spruce trap doors, spruce fence gates, some spruce signs. So I just made a trip all the way out to the swamp to get big drip leaf, and then I realized big drip leaf don't actually appear in the swamp. And after that colossal blunder, here we are. We actually have some large drip leaf. So back to it, we need packed ice, 2 observers, a couple pieces of soul sand, we need a single cobblestone stair, a dropper, a couple of copper doors, a redstone comparator, a sticky piston, and that is almost everything. We have 1 item left to get, and it's gonna be a pretty difficult one, because we're actually gonna need half of a stack of honey blocks, and we have like 4, is that? Maybe 8? Let's see. Yeah, 8. It's gonna take a while. So I'm gonna replace all of the shears inside of our honey farm with bottles, and hopefully that should speed things up quite a bit. So I think while we wait for that honey to actually get farmed up, I think probably the best use of my time will probably be to just get started on the build. So let's roll that time lapse. Alright, and the storage room is now complete. At least the aesthetic side of things, because we still need to work on the actual backbones of this build, namely getting all of the copper golems in here. But first I do want to talk about everything that's out here. I gotta say, this turned out so good. I'm really impressed with how everything looks. Basically what I did was I went into a creative world and built out this entire thing with like Axiom and everything like that. Even these vines coming off of the roof, these were made with like the path tool and Axiom. And then of course I just used a schematic with Lightmatica to actually bring it into this world and started building it. By the way, I did have my HUD off. It is day 447, which really not too bad considering how big of a build this is. Things like the copper bulbs to actually get down here. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I do want them to go all the way out, because as you can see up here, I did use some of the ones that were already, I think these ones are waxed and oxidized. They're very dim, and I think the light level changes, I'm pretty sure. So that might affect things down here. It is pretty bright down here though, so I don't know if it's going to change things. We'll just have to see. We might also just have to add more copper lanterns here and there, because those don't actually change their light level when they get oxidized. I think probably my favorite part of this entire build is the sort of pond area in the center. I used a mixture of lily pads, these large drip leaves, cactus flowers as almost like the flower part of a lily pad. I think that looked really, really good, especially when you look at it from like kind of an off angle here. It kind of just looks like it's part of the lily pad. So you might notice that each section has 9 chests, and that's because copper golems can only search up to 10 chests. And so if I bring up my schematic here, just while we're still waiting on honey, by the way, I just kind of want to explain how this works though. So like I said, each copper golem can only search 10 chests, which is why we have 9 for storage. And then we actually have a 10th one. This one will be empty, and it has a hopper underneath of it. Say for example, we have stone. If none of these chests match stone, what it'll do is put it inside of this chest because it's empty. And then because there's a hopper beneath it, all of the items will be pulled out of it and it will remain empty, so that they can always put items in there if they don't fit. And then that actually gets passed into a copper chest. Now, if you'll remember, copper chests are actually what the copper golems pull items out of. Which means basically what we're doing is just passing items from one copper golem to the next. It's an extremely simple system, especially if you compare it to the, say, the redstone version of doing this, where we would need a ton of like repeaters and comparators and hoppers and all of that. All we really need for this is a few hoppers, some copper chests, some regular chests, and of course the copper golems themselves. Now, I did actually come up with this design by myself, and then I looked for other copper golem sorting systems, and I did notice that a lot of them use a lot of the same fundamentals that I used. And a few comments that I've seen is that this system can be a little bit unreliable at times. I personally ran my system in creative mode for like 2 hours, just putting random items through it, and it seemed to work just fine. I think the complaint was that sometimes they'll just put items into this chest here, but I haven't actually seen them do that before, so I'm not entirely sure how that would happen, if it's like world dependent or if it's positional. I'm not entirely sure. We'll just have to test things as we go. So we currently have 17 honey blocks, which is about half of what we needed, so it'll still probably be a while before we can actually get this going, but I think I'm going to continue working on sort of the back end of this now that I've explained it, And yeah, we shouldn't have too many struggles. So we put the honey blocks on that layer. Then we have a copper golem on top, of course. Each of the copper golems will have their own little cell like this. And we basically just repeat that all the way around until we get to a corner where we just have all of the items go through hoppers. And then we repeat it again and so forth. And it'll go all the way to the end. And at the end over here is where we basically have our unsorted or overflow items. And technically we don't even need to have all of these like random components here. This is basically just to transfer the items from a container into the overworld, and then it just shoots it up top into a hopper here, and that'll just feed into these chests. Technically you could just have it directly feed into each of the chests. It's really not that big of a deal. Alright, so I'm still working on categories right now. However, as I do so, I can actually start moving items into the storage itself. And I've moved a few chests already, but now we can actually finally start with probably our biggest mess in this world, which is this series of chests here. So to help me move my items from our starter base, I've enlisted the help of all of our donkeys. I had to go and run around and find them all first, but yeah, we've moved everything into the barn here, including our other horses, as well as a random villager who just happened to sneak in here. I guess he's taking care of the horses. And we still have a ton of items here, so this is probably gonna take a while. Alright, and now we have all of our items from the starter base over here in the brand new storage system. However, everything is still very much disorganized because the system is a little bit slow. It's going to take a while to get everything sorted through it, but it is so much more organized than it was before. And I actually stayed pretty organized up at the starter base, but that area was just so far away from everything else that it just kind of felt too hard to get over there whenever I needed something. So I ended up just putting everything inside of my mine shaft chest system, and yeah, I think that's kind of how everything got so cluttered as it did. But it feels so good to have that finally rectified. And it's actually been doing pretty well as well, actually getting all of the items that are not sorted into this chest. There's a few items here and there, like this dirt does have a spot. I don't know why it keeps skipping over the dirt. Let's see here, it should be right here. There was definitely room for it, so I'm not entirely sure why it skipped it. But honestly, I don't really mind, because if this thing can just sort 95% of my items, I really don't mind just running over here to the corner and sorting things out manually every once in a while. It's definitely a huge upgrade from just having to do everything manually anyway. And eventually we'll have to actually implement some sort of deep storage unit into this, because we already have a double chest of dirt, and I also had to move some cobblestone over as well. So those are just a couple of considerations for a 2.0, or at least for something that we can upgrade in the future. Alright, and I think the last few areas that we need to clean up now are over by the tree farm. We have a ton of stone and everything inside of those chests right there from the hole that we dug. As well as over here at the iron farm, we have a few supplies here and there. But yeah, this one shouldn't be as bad. That one over there is gonna take a lot of time. There's a lot of stone over there. Alright, and I've spent the last few days actually going through and organizing everything. We had a ton of chests just laying right here, so we've gone ahead and sorted all of that. It's still sorting a few things here, but pretty much all of my items are now in storage. So I would say that this project was a success. I am starting to feel a little bit fatigued from this entire project though, so I think I'm gonna end today's episode there. But yeah, I would say that this is pretty much almost a second start for this world. Because from here, we're gonna be able to just take on so many more projects. Of course, I want to go through and upgrade and kind of finish the Tuscan village. We still need to make the port of the Tuscan village. And of course, there's a ton of other projects and farms and everything that we can still do in the future. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end things there for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.